Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Sellers Unfiltered Live with myself, James, and coming to us live from hot, sunny, sweaty Cheshire is the posh end.
Absolutely.
is my good friend and fellow full-time online seller, Paul. Hi, mate. How are you?
You're right, mate. It's going to be a hot one today, isn't it?
Oh, brilliant. Well, here's the thing. First of all, this could be our last ever live show.
Why?
We might be getting kicked off YouTube today, mate. It's a controversial one.
Right, this is news to me, mate. What's going on?
No. Well, our main topic today, as you know, is we are going to be talking about Etsy online coaches. We are going to name them. We're going to discuss the advice they give, whether we agree with it or not. And I don't even know whether we're allowed to do that. So I ChatGPT'd it, and ChatGPT said we're all right to do it. So I'm only messing. I don't think we're going to get kicked off YouTube, but if we do, thanks for watching, and good luck with your online selling careers. But how you doing, mate? How you getting on with this heat?
Mate, I'm struggling. I really and I don't think our viewers know, but some of the machinery that we operate, mate, the temperatures get up to like 200 degrees. So we've got this to contend with the weather, and also the heat of like the heat presses and all the equipment that we are. And it's tough. It's tough going.
It's tough, yeah. I mean, you look hot, mate. I'm not gonna lie. You got red cheeks. You're sweating, but that's how it should be, isn't it? You know, we're working hard. It's a sunny day. It's how it should be.
Yeah, mate.
I'll tell you what. You know when the sun comes out and it's hot and it's sunny. Normally our sales dip because people obviously do other things. They're going out, they're enjoying the sun, they're outside. How are your sales getting on with this heat wave?
No, I'm experiencing the same thing. So the last couple of days, sales have really dipped, and I'd normally be panicking about that, but I understand it. And speaking to other sellers like yourself, they say on hot weather it's the same. So
here's the thing. It normally is for us. We normally notice like what you're experiencing now, but we haven't so far. We haven't. Maybe today's the first day where sales are a little bit lower than normal, but the last couple of days they've been normal. I don't know what's going on. I actually don't know what's going on. I'm talking about Etsy. Amazon's down a bit. Etsy, there's something going on Etsy, and we talked about it last week, didn't we? Briefly about like the spring uptick that no one's seen in the last 15 years is happening. So I'm interested to see what the rest of the year is going to be like on Etsy, because I think they're having a real sort of renaissance. I think they took a bit of a dip and they're coming right back up now. So our sales are normal. Anyway, mate, let's turn our attention to today's show. Let's just have a quick look at what we're going to be doing. It's the same format as normal. So we are going to have a very quick look at a recent change. And before we go through that, we've made a decision, haven't we? We've decided that because we're trying to cram too much into live shows is our feeling, isn't it? And as people know, it's only episode 5. We're not YouTubers. Again, we've said it before. We don't know what we're doing. We're online full-time sellers. We're just here to talk about our experiences and give little bits of advice that we think may be useful for people. So we don't know what we're doing. So we're going to try and we're learning as we go. We're going to try and talk about less things every week, not rush it and not try and cram so much in. So we've decided to discuss one of the 3 selling platforms every week. So 1 week we'll talk about eBay, a topic to do with eBay. 1 week we'll do an Amazon, and today it's Etsy week. So we're talking about Etsy today. We're talking about a specific topic related to Etsy. And as I mentioned, we're going to talk about the online coaches that are all over YouTube, the Etsy coaches and the sort of stuff they're saying.
Yeah, so I noticed one change in the title screen there, mate, as well. There isn't a customer of a week. You've replaced it with something else.
Wow. It's not there, is it?
No.
What's there?
Rant of the week.
Well, the first ever rant of the week. And do you know what, mate? This could become a regular feature, because the one today is for me, is the one that makes my blood boil more than most. But there's other ones. Do you know what? I'm fed up with people not doing their job properly. There's so many. When I was thinking, who can I have a rant about? I had to filter them out. I'll do that. Not them this week, not them this week, not them. So today,
Did I get filtered out?
today. Well, funny you should say that because you weren't on it last week, were you?
Yeah.
You were there in body, but not in spirit. If anyone saw it, it's a bit of a shit show, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, to be fair, and I think, it's quite good that happened because I think that might go into a future podcast. So I was having a little bit of a stress about selling platform, and it was really on my mind. So I wasn't fully focused on the last show, to be honest.
Hold that thought, because next week is Amazon week, and we're going to talk about it next week.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
We're going to talk about it next week. That's our topic for next week. So anyway, so what normally happens is, normally on a live, either I make mistakes, but you spot it and pick me up on it, or you're away with the fairies, but I'm on it and I don't make mistakes. Now, last week, both of those things happened at the same time. I was making mistakes. I was sharing my screen or not sharing my screen, and you weren't telling me I was and wasn't. And the principles of what we were talking about were good, but it was probably hard viewing actually. So this week we're going to get it right. And also, I disappeared again. I still don't know what's happening. I think it's my internet. If my internet drops out temporarily, that's I think when I disappear. So if I disappear this week for a minute, I'll come back in. But Paul, you've got a few jokes to tell, haven't you? If I disappear,
you've just threw me right into the book now. So now I'm going to have to think of jokes now.
Yeah, I've sprung that on you. And probably what I'll do is I'll disappear on purpose now and then see what you've got in your locker.
Yeah.
I'm only messing, mate, obviously. You'll probably do your Garth impression again for Wayne's World. And just stare at the screen.
Did you get a cha-ching there, James?
Yeah, cha-ching, yeah. Well, Etsy in it. That's the lovely sound, isn't it? We love it, don't we?
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll hear a few more before the live's up. Right, so we're going to look at a recent update, then a rant of the week. My top tip as normal. It's going to be a 2-3 minute section. Then the main event of the day, Etsy coaches, their online advice. We're going to finish with some quick fire questions and have a look at next week's show. Does that sound good?
That sounds great, mate.
Right. Now, I think this is a recent update because I haven't seen it before, but I don't think it's been there before. So as it's Etsy week, we're talking about an Etsy update. So on my dashboard this past week, I have seen in the marketing section on Etsy a new tab, and it's an offsite ads tab. And if you click into it, you can see all of the information that I think we should have had access to all along. Do you know what offsite ads is on Etsy? Briefly, do you know what it is?
I don't know the efficiency, but if I had to guess, it was Etsy advertising through different websites. Maybe have to pay themselves to advertise our own products.
Yeah, so Etsy offsite ads. If you don't know and you've just started selling on Etsy, you might actually not. You'll be enrolled for it automatically. You're automatically enrolled in Etsy offsite ads. If you turn over less than $10,000 a year, or the equivalent of that in your own currency, you cannot opt out of it. You have to be enrolled in it. So we're enrolled in it automatically because we turn over 12, 15 times that much. You're, I imagine, enrolled in it. If you turn over less than that, so if you take less than $10,000 in sales on Etsy a year, you can opt out of it, but you have to go and do that if you want to do it. So anyway, Etsy offsite ads is where they take some of your listings and they go and advertise them, and they pay themselves for the adverts, and they go and advertise them offsite, so other places. Now, up to now, we didn't really know any more than that. Now, you only pay for that ad if it then goes on to sell. So if somebody clicks on the ad on Google or Pinterest or wherever it is, and they come into Etsy and they buy the listing, Etsy then will charge you a fee, and I think it's 15% of the order total they charge you, unless you're turning over the $10,000, and then it's 12%. You get a discounted rate. So we didn't really know what the situation was up until this week, as far as I know. So now, if you go into that tab on Etsy, you can actually see what your ROAS is for offsite ads. So you can see the return on advertising spend. And you can also see you can dig into the stats. So Etsy now showing us where they're showing these adverts, where they're paying for them to appear, and what listings they're showing. Now, that's interesting to me because Etsy do not spend money unless they think they're going to make money. So if they're taking one of your listings and they're saying, don't worry about it, we're going to pay for the ad, we're going to put it in a place where we think it's going to be sold or somebody's going to buy it from, and we're going to only put listings that we think are going to be bought, obviously, because they're not going to put things out there that they don't think are going to sell. So this tells me that this shows what they think is worth advertising, certainly off-site. Now, we always have a little bit of debate behind the camera about social media, and I always thought that most of the off-site went onto Pinterest, because whenever I go on Pinterest, it's full of Etsy stuff, but it isn't. So if you do want to have a look this week in your off-site ads tab, it shows you where Etsy are advertising your listings and specifically what listings they are advertising. So I think that's really interesting. So Paul, if I was you, I'd have a little look at that this week.
Yeah, I will do. Now, can I question to you, James? Was you surprised when you seen the sites that they were advertising on? Were you surprised by them sites? Or...
Well, yeah, I was, and I'll show you why. Because my top tip this week, it's very related to that. My top tip this week is, now we've got access to this information, you can start, well, if you decide to promote your Etsy listings away from Etsy, you might not want to do that, and we'll talk about that in a bit with what the online coach is saying. If you decide that you're going to promote your own listings from Etsy off-site, well, this information is really good because it tells you where Etsy are bothering to do it. It tells you what listings they're bothering to do it with. So again, they've obviously got more, millions and millions of marketing budget and research and budget, and so they know what they do. Well, you think they know what they're doing, because have a look at this, mate. These are our stats. So these are our stats. The picture on the left that you can see there. So there's there's two images. The one on the left, that's the top 5 listings that Etsy have decided to advertise off-site. Now, I haven't put what they are, but you should be able to see the stats, the clicks, orders, and revenue. Now, look at the top one. Can you see the top one?
Is that where it says Bing?
No, on the left picture, not the right, the left one.
My orders, clicked. The page I've got, James, is...
So on the left, you should see clicks, orders, revenue.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So that image there, forget the one on the right. Look at the one on the left where you've got the clicks, orders, and revenue table. That is our real life table from our Etsy ad stats of the listings on a listing level of how Etsy advertising. Now, if you look at the top one there, there's been nearly 4,000 clicks.
Oh yes,
and it's not sold once. So. My question is, why would Etsy continue to advertise something off-site if it's not sold once? They've obviously advertised it quite a bit because it's got nearly 4,000 clicks. My second question is, why has no one bought it? Because I'm not having it that nearly 4,000 human beings have clicked onto that listing. I know what it is and they've not bought it. So I think it's bots. I think they've advertised it on Google or wherever, and I think it's just been hit by a load of bots. It might have been maybe they didn't keep advertising it. Maybe it was all within like 10 minutes and it just got attacked by bots. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what that tells me is, so that listing there, we've not actually sold that listing on Etsy either. So what I'm thinking of doing is, now I know that information, I'm thinking of just deactivating that listing, just deleting it, because it hasn't sold on Etsy. And Etsy might look at that stat there and think, well, we're not going to advertise any of their listings again because no one's buying it. I mean, maybe that's a bit of a stretch because they obviously are advertising the listings, because you can see the listings below. But that one there needs to come out because no one. You know what I mean? It's possibly dragging down our store. It's certainly dragging down the impact offsite ads is having.
A stat what I'd like to know with that was the time frame it was on, so then we could work out, was it attacked by bots or was it just it just was the wrong listing. For
did they just keep advertising it for whatever reason? Yeah, well, I'm not sure we've got the time. Yeah, I'll have to dig into it because we might have the time span. I'm not sure, but that's really interesting to me. So that tells me straight away that listing needs to come out because there's no point that being there if that's what's happening with it. Now, the other thing that was interesting, right? So turn your attention to the image on the right.
Yeah.
So it says add performance by channel at the top. That's the heading. So this is where Etsy have been showing and advertising our listings. Now
one thing surprises me there straight away, but
go on. What is it?
Well, you've always said to me that Etsy items are heavily advertised on Pinterest, and that's actually one of your lowest.
Well, I thought that they were, but the reason I thought they were is because I didn't know any better. But now we know better, don't we? And that's why these stats are decent. That's why these stats are useful because, again, we're going to come on to it. A lot of people online say, put your listings on Pinterest. Well, Etsy doesn't seem to think so, do they? They're not putting much on Facebook either. But look at the top one.
Yeah.
Bing. What? Bing.
So, question, James, go back to that screen again for us. Where would you think before you'd seen this? You had to guess. Where do you think would have been on top? And
Google on top, Pinterest second. I would have thought.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what's going on with Bing, and what I'm thinking is this listing on the left that we just talked about, where it maybe got attacked by bots. Is that the one that was advertised on Bing and did bots attack it within, a 10-minute time frame, whatever? And that's why Bing is showing at the top of that. Because I looked at the same stat. So that stat there is for this year, this calendar year, January to, today or yesterday, whenever I've screenshotted it. Because when I look at the stats for last year, Google's on top by miles. So I'm wondering whether that listing is almost corrupting everything. So that's why now I know I can take that out and it'll stop that from happening.
Another thing that slightly surprises me is Facebook. It is where probably I'm expecting to be, but I thought can you go back to the screen again? I thought like you'd have more people coming to take a look off the Facebook because everybody uses Facebook. Like when I use it, I'm always getting stuff to click on and items and stuff that I'm looking at. So I thought you might get more visits off Facebook than you've got as well.
Yeah. Well, again, we didn't know, did we, until now?
No,
so
that's interesting. That
it's interesting. So this is the update. Go and have a look at it. It's in your dashboard. It's under the marketing. It's where your Etsy ads are. It's just underneath there. It just gives you all the stats. And one final thing before we move on, mate. The ROAS on that. So you see that there. Etsy have charged us £519. So they're obviously listings that they've advertised that have sold because you only pay if they sell. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Charged us £519, and obviously we've bought in £4,312. But the ROAS is always going to be the same because it's a flat fee. They charge us 12%, so that should be around about 12% of the sales. They charge you 12% every time something sells on an off-site ad. So the ROAS it's above 8. The ROAS is above 8. So for every pound Etsy charge you that you have to spend on those ads, you're getting back more than £8 in sales. Now that to me is a fantastic ROAS. I think anything above 4 is really good, if I'm honest. Above 8 is fantastic. So I would urge people not to opt out of off-site ads. I'd leave them on. I think they're worth having. But you probably haven't looked at yours, have you? You probably don't know what your figures are, but have a look at them. Because, like I say, it's worth doing. And also, if you don't know what it's doing in terms of if it brings people in and they buy something from you, they might come back again to your Etsy store. You never know. Anyway, move on.
I'm looking right, James. I'm getting the popcorn out. I'm listening. I'm ready. I can't wait.
Right. Before we get into this, I said something a little bit cheeky last week. I said, we're coming for you, Etsy coaches. We're not coming for anyone. We are going to name people, Now, if anybody watches Etsy Online Coaches, and if they're watching us now, they probably do, because they're probably watching all the same stuff that I watch. But if you're interested, by the way, go and have a look at our week 1 show, which I think is the best live show we've done, because I put a screenshot of our sales history. So if you're watching this thinking, who are these guys? What do they know? Go and have a look and you'll see. Right. Here's the thing. I've whittled this down this week to 4 specific Etsy coaches who I watch quite regularly online. Now, I don't agree, as we'll find out, I don't agree with everything they say. I actually watch it because funny enough, it's quite entertaining for me. And that even if there's just one thing that I learn, a bit like our show, even if there's just one thing I learn and 10 things that I don't agree with and I just filter out, then I think it's worth watching. So I wouldn't talk about anyone on this channel unless I thought they were good at what they do, and unless I really respected them. So let's get that out there straight away. So if we disagree with anything that any of them say, or any of them sort of the messages that they preach, that doesn't mean that we don't like them, we don't respect them, and we don't agree with some other stuff that they say. So the four that we're going to talk about are these. Now, I've picked 2 that are probably quite well known, high profile on it as far as Etsy sellers go, and 2 that maybe some people don't know about. So we're looking at these 4. And by the way, the content of all 4 of them, in my opinion, is really good and it's worth watching. We know how hard it is to do YouTube, especially lives, because of all the buttons and figuring out what sounds to press and what to do when. So I've got the utmost respect for these people because they've all got really good followers on YouTube and they've built up a good channel. Right. Have you heard of any of these, mate?
Yes. Yeah, I really have.
Which ones?
Right. The first one is one of my favourites, Etsy Consultants. So if you're him, yeah. So if you're being negative, I'm gonna defend him. Right, I really now. I'm going to let you introduce it, but I struggle with these a little bit because I don't know if it's a short attention span, but I like Etsy Consult because you get straight to the point. I like that.
Yeah. So what we'll do is when we talk about them, we'll talk about them one by one, and we're going to simplify it. We'll do a little spiel about how we think they come across in terms of their style, and then we're just going to discuss one main message that specific coach pretty much gives, quite regularly, and we'll discuss whether we agree with it or not. So that's not to say that there's loads of other pieces of advice and messages that they all give out, but we haven't got time to discuss all of it. So we're just going to do one main message, and really it's just a vehicle for us to start talking about what we think and what we don't think. So it's not really getting into, how good we think they are or not. Although we've covered that, I think they're all pretty good. Right, do you know any of the others?
No, but you know what? I'm frustrated. I'm not, because we're sharing this channel. I was listening to a few of them. I just can't put the name to the faces. Because they were. I was watching a lady. She had colourful hair. I don't know which one that is, and she was just talking about the recent updates on Etsy about the titles.
Yeah. Is she Scottish?
Yes.
Right, I think that is a lady called Pam. I think it's Pam Guthrie, and she's really good friends with the second one on this list, Starla Moore. They actually do talk about each other because they work together for E-Rank, or I know they don't both work for E-Rank. I'm not sure if Starla Moore is there full time or what, but because Starla Moore there on the second on the list, she's probably the biggest, I would say, influence online with regards to Etsy sellers. I think she's got probably more followers than anyone else, more subscribers. Her and Etsy Consultant are probably 2 of the biggest ones. The 2 at the bottom are probably lesser well known, but I really like both of them. Now, here's the thing: these people, they give their advice, and they also sort of in a backhanded way dismiss each other's advice. Which can be quite confusing especially if you're new to selling. You might watch one of them and they might say something, and you watch the other one and they completely dismiss it. So you end up thinking, well, who's right? And that's kind of the beauty of it in a way, is you've just got to decide for yourself. Anyway, right, let's get into it. So Etsy consultants, a fella called Nick, and by the way, mate, one of the best YouTube videos I've seen was the one where he talked about how he started on Etsy, the stone on the beach. I think I've sent it to you. I'm not sure if you've watched it. Have you seen it?
No, I don't remember the stone.
You've not seen it, where he talks about moving to a Greek island and struggling and having no money, and he stumbled across something, started selling.
So when I'm watching the videos, he's normally in front of a whiteboard writing stuff.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So his main message. There you go. He's got 78,000 subscribers as of the other day when I checked. Right. So his main advice, from what I can see, is if you are a new or a growing seller, he basically says you should only list one listing per day. But in an ideal world, you do list every day. That's his main message on Etsy. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, funny enough, you messaged me once and said, what you doing? I said, I'm actually just doing all my listings now. I've worked really hard today. And you said, what have you done? And I said, I've just listed 25 things on Etsy. And you went, oh. And then you sent me the link to this fella. And then I realized quite quickly that me thinking of being dead productive, it was too much too quick. So I've listened to his advice about listing one per day, being constantly active. He always says activity is key, and you're just trying to show Etsy that you're always keeping busy on the site.
Right. So just as a warning or a sort of disclaimer, lots of the other online coaches say that this is garbage. Lots of the other online coaches say it doesn't matter when you list, just get it all on. But he says list one a day if you're a new seller or a growing seller. So he would say after 100 days of selling on Etsy, you should have 100 listings and you should list one a day. That's sort of his mantra. Now, the reasons that he gives are, as far as I know, and do you know what, mate? Oh, I'd love to get him on here one day. Imagine if we grow to an extent where he knows who we are, and we get him on it. That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? It'd be unbelievable. Yeah. He's your hero, isn't he, mate?
I love him, mate. I think, mate, do you know, I'll let you do this. And I'll tell you a bugbearer with YouTubers, especially who do this. So I'll let you explain your bit and I'll do mine.
Right. So being active every day, he says that every time you list something on Etsy, they have to come back and visit your shop and sort of see what you're all about. Does that make sense? Yeah. So he said if you do it all in one day, so if you've got, say, 10 days, right? 1, 2, 3, well, let's do 5 days. I'm going to run out of room. Say you've got 5 days and you've got 5 things to list. He says if you list them all on day one, then Etsy will come and visit your store, look at the, almost index them, put them out in the world and be like, that's it. There's no reason for Etsy then to come back and visit your store on the other days. He says that if you list them across the 5, well, obviously 100 or whatever it is days, but we're doing 5. If you list one on day 1, one on day 2, one on day 3, one on day 4, my understanding is he's saying Etsy has to come back day after day and check, on your store, what's happening. They're more likely to sort of give you visibility because they can see you're active on a regular basis. They're having to index something every day. That's my understanding of it. To me, that makes a little bit of sense. If that's true, which we don't know, and let's be honest, he doesn't know, but if that logically to me does make sense that could be the case, that it tells that Etsy you're active. Now, other people say that's nonsense and activity isn't about listing and when you list, but I think listing something new on Etsy would surely be considered as something, active that you're doing in your store. So I can understand where he's coming from with that. Now, the other reason that he... Go on, mate.
Well, I'm always wary of advice because it was a new... when I was watching the videos, I didn't know... I knew very little of them, so I didn't know what to do. So I actually asked AI about that, about listing strategies, I didn't mention his name, and I said, is a listing strategy for Etsy, and it also mirrored what he was saying. Don't do a lot over a day or two, spread it out. Right. Matt said that was the best, and that's a different. He said that's different. AI said it was different between Etsy and Amazon. Amazon, just get them on.
Get
Etsy,
them on.
slow burning.
Well, as we know, we discussed this a little bit in week 2. We talked about AI. AI sometimes will give you the answer. It's sort of like a people pleaser, isn't it? It tries to please you and make you, think that you know more than maybe what you do. So it is a bit of a people pleaser. It will agree with you. So sometimes when AI gives you an answer, you've got to almost counter that and say, well, almost put another prompt in saying, can you critique your own advice? Can you critique what you've just told me? And sometimes it'll say completely the opposite. It'll say, oh, yeah, sorry, you're right. Because it's just pulling information from all different parts of the internet. So it depends what people on the internet are saying, doesn't it? So if it finds somebody who agrees with you, it'll probably agree with you.
And the ultimate proof, James, is try the strategy. Give it a time scale and see, do you get an uptick or a downtick? Now, I stuck to his advice, and it really did work for me.
Right. So you've started listing every day actively, or so whenever By the way, he does say that this is for new and growing sellers. So I would class you as a growing seller. Because I would say you do 3, 4, 5 sales a day on Etsy. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Ish. Because you're quite new. You're mainly Amazon. Whereas we do, well, this past month, we've been doing like 60, 70, 80 sales a day. So he would say that advice doesn't apply to us. He would say we can move things in and out of our store pretty much as we want because we're already established. But what he's getting at is if you're just new or just growing, you've got to be careful of not just going bang, putting a load of listings in. Because also the reason I like it is because if you are new and growing, you don't actually know which of your designs or which of your ideas are going to sell and which aren't. So if you put 100 in, bang, and only one of those is going to sell, that's 99 listings that you've put into your store that are never going to sell. Whereas if you list one a day, like he says, you can monitor on an ongoing basis, what type of product or what type of design is attracting favorites and sales and even reviews. And after sort of 20, 30 days, you might see 2, 3 or 4 of your listings that you've listed really start to take off a little bit. So then you've only listed 20. And then from then on, you start listing based on what's taken off. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's 100%. Yeah.
It's sort of putting your feet in the water, testing the temperature and seeing which feet do you need to put in the water or not. Whereas if you put 100 in, bang, you don't know which one of those is going to tank and which aren't. And obviously, if you put loads in that it's going to tank, that's not going to help your Etsy store.
Yeah, 100%. Now, if I had to sum him up in one word, what he likes to use all the time, I would say activity, being active. Now, I think that's right, but he's also given some more information that really helped me, was getting your listings on, like a Father's Day gift. Like for me, it was like get your Father's Day stuff on a few weeks before Father's Day. I mean, that was a massive error. He was saying like getting them, you should be getting them Father's Day listings on months in prehand. So Etsy can see the items, it can index them, it can look at them and put them in the right place. You've got to do all that.
Well, mate, we're not going to dive too much into this, but to be fair, everybody says that. It's not just him.
Yeah.
All of the other sellers that we're going to talk about, online coaches that we're going to talk about today, they all say that. They all say try and get it on 3 months in advance. Now, my understanding is when you put a listing on Etsy, it gets indexed straight away. It gets indexed, as in Etsy will read it straight away. What takes the time is Etsy say themselves, I think it's 30 to 90 days. I think they say if you put a listing on, we know what it gets read and it starts getting put out there. It gets that little boost that new listings get, but it takes 30 to 90 days for that listing to be put in front of all different types of customers and different eyes and different people in different areas and who like different things, for them to start seeing who exactly it is they should be focusing on putting that listing in front of. So, for example, if you list something and it puts it in front of loads of different types of people, and it finds out that, most of the people that are favoriting it, are liking it and buying it are, in their 50s, they're female and they live in America and they like, rustic farmhouse decor, then they're going to be like, right, that's who that listing's for. So that's who we need to target it and put in front of. So that period of figuring out who it needs to go in front of, that's the period what they talk about of like the 30 to 90 days, if that makes sense. So that's why everybody, including Etsy consultant, says if you're listing for Father's Day or Christmas specific items, get it in 3 months before, because on the lead, that's when people are shopping for those items as well. And on the lead up to the real heavy period, the week before or 2 weeks before, Etsy can start to figure out who I need to put it in front of. So am I putting that Father's Day mug in front of a lady in their 30s who lives in the south of England who likes dogs? Or am I putting it in front of a lady, who lives in Texas, Wyoming, and I don't know, bloody Idaho, who is in their 50s, who is a country person and rides.
Yeah.
I mean, they're figuring it out. So to be fair, everyone says that. But in terms of one a day, what we're going to do after every piece of advice we discuss, we're just going to, one a day, list one a day. And for whatever reason, it doesn't really matter, because there are lots of people out there who I almost agree with say that, well, his reasoning might not be on it. But for whatever reason you think, you're going to say whether you like it or not, whether you like it or whether you use it. So one a day, list one a day on Etsy. You've already said you like it and you use it. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, I've done that.
So you like it and you use it. I like it, and I'll be honest, I use it too. Even now, we are so successful on Etsy and we sell tens of orders every day. I still do it. The reason I do it is because it's quite easy to get into a bit of a dip and to not list something for a while. So I almost force myself to list something every day on Etsy if we can. Oh yeah. Hey, we got another one. I almost force ourselves to list every day on Etsy just because, so we're getting the listings on. We're not getting lazy about it. Now, the only time I don't do it is when I'm really busy and I've got time, but then I catch up. So yeah, we both like that one, don't we, mate? List one a day. Yeah. We both like it. I think it just gives you a nice structure. Even if you're an existing selling, I quite like it. Right, next one, Starla Moore. Have you heard of Starla Moore?
Heard of it, but I've probably seen the videos, James. I just can't remember, and I haven't stuck around. So it's telling me that I'm.
So Starla Moore is probably, as I said, the biggest Etsy coach on YouTube. She actually does well. Her and Etsy consultants, to be fair, they're the only ones I know of who actually do live shows like us. The rest of them just do videos. But her and Etsy consultant do videos and live shows. She does a live show every single week on a Friday. I think it's 5 p.m. UK time. I think it's midday where they live, which is Ohio. And I say they because she does it with her husband. I think his name's Mark. He's quite funny, actually. I like him. He can be quite prickly. Which I like.
Is he quite direct?
Yeah, he can be. Yeah, I mean, she says he's a bit of a teddy bear, which you can also see. But
yeah,
I like it when people speak their mind. You know what I mean? Like they've got to be careful because they've got so many subscribers, and obviously it's part of their income. I imagine it's part of their income, and they've got to be careful. But yeah, it's quite good actually, their live show. So she's very much based on scientific research, data analysis. So her main piece of advice that I can sort of see that sort of is the general thread throughout of all the videos and lives is this keyword research. So she talks quite a lot about researching keywords to put into your titles and your tags. How often certain words are searched for on Etsy. Is it is there a better word that you should be using in your title than the one you've already got in there? For example, she talks a lot about that. She works, I think, for eRank, which is one of the keyword. One of the keywords, sort of, I don't know how you describe them. Sort of search companies that provide data analysis and say this is how often this keyword searched for. This is how many people have got it in their titles, so you can figure out whether there's competition or not. So she will talk about that quite a lot. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I think that if you know the right keywords to use, that you're obviously going to get an advantage. So that sounds really good. That to me. However, the talking about the YouTuber that we talked about previously, wasn't his advice not to worry about that too much?
Yeah, well, this is where this is where it can be confusing for people, because when he says list one a day, she says absolutely no need to do that. When she says research your keywords for your titles, he says absolutely no need to do that. So you've got to try and figure out, your own way of doing it. Now,
that's the hard bit, isn't it, though, James? Is then you've got to like go, which one do I go with?
Yeah,
and you can get yourself in a bit of a muddle with I like to stick with one person, stick to their processes, and just see where it goes.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think that probably is less confusing if you do that, isn't it? So my take on keyword research is this. I don't do it. We've sold, as we saw, on week one, we've done over $1 million in sales on Etsy in 8 years. I don't research keywords. Now, I did go through a period of about 2 or 3 months at the start of last year, 2025, starting to do it and to delve into it. And it took me down so many rabbit holes. It took up so much time. And the reason I did it was because our sales were struggling. And I thought, gosh, we've got to do something. But actually, it wasn't that turned things around for us. It was, funnily enough, it was simply, in my opinion, just listing new items, new products that we hadn't sold before, and getting back to listing regularly. The keyword research rabbit holes that I went down, they were not worth it. So we don't do it. When I did do it for a very brief period, it didn't do anything for us. It wasn't worth it. It took time out of our day that we needed elsewhere. And also, first of all, I don't think keywords are as important as they used to be for titles and tags. As we know, Etsy takes a more holistic view now of listings. It reads alt text. The AI looks at images. It sends the listing out to the world and figures out who's clicking on it. There's all sorts going on. And also, like, it's not hard to write titles, in my opinion. It's really not hard. And we talked about it last week. So have a look at last week's shit show of a live show where we talked about writing product titles, because the principles that we talked about were quite good, even if the delivery wasn't great. I don't think it's that difficult to write titles. Even if you get it slightly wrong, it's fine.
It's
fine. What really matters is your photos and how good your product is, in my opinion. Yeah. So I don't think it's worth keyword research.
Can I just chip in about something now? Like, you know me very well. You know I'm not like the most detailed of people, but I always thought what we do is a bit of a numbers game, and I'm not foolish enough to think that every listing that I make is going to sell. I'm going to make listings that sell and don't sell, and so I think it's number, just list as many as you can, and like I think the Etsy consultant said, I think for every like 25 listings that you make, you'd expect them one hit. So I think just listing is key.
Well, to be fair, again, a lot of people say, if you list 100 things, 20 of them are going to sell regularly, 80 aren't, sort of thing. And he's not the only one again who says that. But so moving on then, mate. Before we move on, for me, keyword research. Do I like it? No, I don't like it. I don't think you need to do it. We don't do it, and as I said, we've done well on Etsy, and we don't use it. So, what do you think? I know you. Well, do you do it?
I'm a bit on. I don't. But do I think that if you could spend a bit of time on it, would it help? I think it would.
Okay.
A little bit, but I don't do it. But James, you could spend a lot of time on one listing, and it's not a seller anyway, and that's the big fear.
Yeah. So you think it could potentially be worth it, but you don't do it at the moment. No. And I'm assuming that's a time thing, isn't it?
It's a trade-off.
Yeah, it really is. Well, that's why you've got to figure out where your time's worth putting. For me, it's not worth putting into keyword research. And listen, when we talked about products last week, we constructed last week our own product titles for items that I found online on eBay, Amazon, and Etsy that were bestsellers. And when we looked at the titles that those sellers used for those items, they looked rubbish, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, one of them did definitely look rubbish. So
I think there was a mistake in one of them as well, and it was one of the best sellers.
This is what I mean. I don't think keywords are that important anymore. I think just write your title. Well, have a look at last week's show, and you'll see what we think of writing product titles. Right. So moving on. Right, this fella. I love this fella. Now you won't know this guy. I sent you a video yesterday, mate. You might have had a chance to watch it.
No, I did.
So that was this guy. He's got like a Bristolian accent. He's got a really nice, easy to listen to accent. Did you think that?
Right.
You didn't like it, did you?
No, right. I actually thought he came across really well. I think he's a really nice fellow. But I have this bugbear with them. And when you read that. What was that?
Got another thing there. Sorry, mate. Go on, you're in your flow.
I love it.
I'm just keep away here. Just keep away. Go on.
you get a catchy thumbnail. You go, yes, I'm going to watch it. Sounds exciting. But they do the longest introduction ever, and I just want to get to the meat and bones of the video. And it went, and it was like 3.5 minutes till I got to like what the actual content of the video was, and I was just like, oh.
So would you say you need one of these? When someone's talking too much, they're just banging on about nothing.
Yeah, thanks, James. I get gonged all the time, Alfie, I know what's going on, mate. I get gonged too.
Right, yeah, mate. I understand what you're saying. Well, listen, this is why we say we're unfiltered and why we are. Because even though it might drag on a bit, it's a live show. It's going to be long. They're all an hour live shows at least. But our point is we don't edit anything. And I know what you're saying. It's very polished, isn't it? It's very edited. It's very consumer friendly, corporate friendly sort of thing. But I like him. He's the sort of guy I'd love to go for a pint with. I think he's a really nice guy. But watch his videos. Now that's not to say I agree with everything he says and does, because I don't. But I definitely think it's worth watching his content. Anyway, he talks about a variety of things. One of the videos I watched recently was a Pinterest one. So he talked. Now he's not the only one. In fact, everybody talks about Pinterest except for your man, the Etsy consultant. He says waste of time. Don't worry about it. Forget it. You've already got traffic in Etsy. But Alfie Nemeth, one of the things he talks about, amongst many others, and many others will back him up, is to use Pinterest. Is to put your listings on Pinterest, put them out into the world, and people will click on them through Pinterest. It'll bring it into Etsy and they'll buy it. And he talks about a program called, sort of a software, I suppose, called Tailwind. It's a website you can go on and you can upload, say, 20, 30 pins, and it will just schedule them. And also you can actually link your Etsy listing URL to it, and it will bring up loads of pins available. And you go, right, I'll have that one, I'll have that one, I'll have that one, I'll have that one. You've got to do a little bit of work typing a title on that. You press publish, and it will send it out into the world, and it will schedule it.
Yeah.
So you can end up, if you really want, pinning, like sending 30 pins a day into Pinterest that way in about 10 minutes work a day. So he really sort of, in one of his videos in particular, he really sort of advocated that program and that website. Now I've got a confession to make.
Go on.
After I watched that video, I went and bought this Tailwind.
Oh my god!
Do you know what? I don't even think I've told Laura about this. I can hear her fall off a chair upstairs now. I'm only messing. Right, so it's not cheap. For a whole year, it's like 400 quid. Tailwind. I thought I'm going to give it a go because everyone talks about Pinterest. But you know what? Having seen this, bloody hell, I wish I'd have seen this first. Yeah. What we talked about earlier. Etsy obviously don't think it's worth that much of a go. So yeah, I did it. And well, I'm going to go into our Etsy store. I'm not going to show it on screen, but I started doing it. So we've been pinning every day on Etsy for about, Pinterest, our Etsy listings for about 30 a day for about 2 months now. Now, the quality of the pins isn't that good because I still haven't got my head around how to do it properly. But if I go into our stats, I'm going to do it for the last 90 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably been about 90 days. So if I go into our last 3 months, so I'll do the 24th of March to the 24th today. if I have a look at where our traffic comes from, bear in mind I followed this Alfie's advice. I'm going to tell you now where it comes from. It comes from, we've had nearly 17,000 visits through the Etsy app and other Etsy pages, which is obviously the main one. I imagine that's for everyone. That's the main one. Over 5,000 from Etsy search, nearly 5,000 from Etsy marketing and SEO, direct and other traffic, which I think is bots, because that's people who just come straight to your listing from out of nowhere. That's nearly 2,000. And social media, bear in mind, Etsy app has 16,000, Etsy search 5,000, Etsy marketing 5,000. Bearing in mind, I followed this advice. I've been on Pinterest, 257. Not much, is it? But, and by the way, only 57 of that is from Pinterest. So now what I will say is I'm going to carry on doing it because everybody says Pinterest is a really, really long-term game, and you probably need to be doing it for a year before you really start to see results. That's what they say. And also, this time last year, we didn't have anyone coming in from Pinterest. So we've gone from sort of 2 or 3 in 90 days to 57. So in theory, that's an increase of, thousands of % increase. So this time next year, if we increase that 57 that we've now up to in the last 90 days, if this time next year we increase that by thousands of %, you could see how it might bring people in. But
I'm interested to hear the experiment, James. It does. I'm not too sure, mate. About the Pinterest thing.
Go on, why not? Why aren't you sure about Pinterest?
Well, my main thing is I don't really hear people talking about it. I don't really hear many people go, do you know what? Seen at this thing on Pinterest, and then I just bought it. From where I am, from the people who I talk to when they buy stuff, they're not talking about. Like,
you mean like people you come across in real life, not like online?
Yeah, and stuff like that. Like they tend to talk about the TikTok stuff. Like my son goes on about the TikTok store. My daughter goes on about TikTok store, or buying stuff off Facebook, or I do listen to where they're buying the stuff or they're locating the items from, but I never get a Pinterest.
So are you going down the route of you don't think it's worth it and you don't use it? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's correct, okay. James.
As is a really funny one, because I would say as things stand today, I don't think it's worth it. Do we use it? Yeah.
I'm really surprised by that.
Well, yeah, mate, he's done me on his video. It's a fantastic video. But I'm holding my judgment, and I'm prepared to admit, but it will take a year. I am prepared to admit that I might one day say it's worth it. So I do stand to be corrected, and I hope I am corrected, because I'm bloody putting a bit of time. But this falls into the category at the moment for me of because I'm using this, and it takes you 10 minutes a day to do. This falls into the category of let's just give it a go and see. Do you know what I mean? It's only costing me 10 minutes a day, if that. Yeah. So let's give it a go and see. And if in a year I've spent 10 minutes a day, so over 3,000 minutes, I'll accept that. I'll swallow that, and we'll move on. Because as you know, there's other things that you spend 10 minutes a day on, or even more, you take a risk on, and they do pay off. So sometimes you just got to take a risk, haven't you, and give it a go. So that's where we're at for that one.
So
right, we'll move on.
My man says stay away from Pinterest. And your data suggests so as well.
Yeah, but I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
Well, this is a problem, mate. With a lot of sellers, you can't bear to think that you're in the wrong, can you? That's. I mean, I kind of am. I'm in the wrong. I think I'm in the wrong, but I'm just clutching to that straw.
So, do you think you're
you're wasting money?
Yeah. So are you like an investor who's got spent a lot of money on a stock, and it's not making money, but just won't sell it?
I'm that person who has bought blank coaster. I've got my first sale. I've sent it off, and I put the wrong date on it.
And sent it to Glasgow.
Yeah, so it wasn't worth doing. Right, yeah. Anyway, if you don't know what we're on about, check our first live episode out, and you'll hear all kinds of funny stories about what Paul first used to get up to when he was selling online.
Right,
we're going to move on, mate. Mate, we need to move on because you've got your kid at home, haven't you? Because of the weather.
Yeah, they've been sent home because of the heat today. So I said, don't you come in the living room while I'm doing this. So I've confined him to the bedroom.
Well, that's not what you told me. And to be fair, mate, after last week's shit show where you were away with the fairies, you've really committed this week, haven't you? Because the school phoned you up, didn't they? And they said you've got to come and get him. You're like, I've got YouTube.
They've contacted us and said we're closing today early because of the heat. So I had to rush and go and get him.
You got him. And you told me before we started that he's not in the bedroom. You told me you kicked him out with a rugby ball and said go and play in the woods.
That's true, but I heard the door close, so he's back in his bedroom.
He's back. He's safe. Anyway, YouTube priority, isn't it?
Big shout out to Freddie. Oh, it was his birthday. Big shout out to Freddie. It was his birthday on Tuesday.
No, I will give Freddie a shout out when he stops banging on about how he's got more subscribers than us.
Yeah.
I think mate, we're closing in. I think we're 4 behind him, aren't we?
Yeah, he's got 38 up to now.
Well, we'll have a party when we get
now. Yeah. So he's doing.
Right. Anyway, moving on, mate. The final one we're going to look at today is this fella. He calls himself Handmade Beyond. He's an American fella, and I bet you won't know this guy, will you?
I love the name, but I've never heard of him.
You love the name. Well, you'll love him. I think you'll love him. He's got nearly 20,000 subscribers, and up until about 5-6 weeks ago, he was very similar to everyone else. He was talking about titles and SEO and all this. And all of a sudden, I think he found a new toy called Claude, which is AI. And he also uses ChatGPT. And every single one of his videos now is about how to use AI for Etsy. And he is a massive advocate of AI. He has found ways to automate his Etsy shop. I mean, you've got to look at his videos. It's a really interesting watch. It's fascinating. He's got like AI agents set up where he's got prompts in there that are massive that he can reuse, and he's got AI. He's got like Claude connected to, social media. I actually don't know how it all works. So he's got social media now, spitting out daily posts and daily reels that's all automated. He doesn't have to do any of it. He tells Claude what his Etsy store is. He tells what the products. He's got it all linked up. So he's got a lot of videos on how AI can save you time and basically automate a lot of your work. So I think this would be an interesting one because I think, what do you think of that?
I think that sounds really good. That's quite exciting. That.
There's a shock. Here's a tool that can you can do less work. More work in less hours. Be lazy, and give someone else a job to do, and you like it.
Yeah, I like it, but I'll only do it if Etsy consultant tells me it's worth doing.
Well, your mate Etsy consultant would say definitely don't automate your Etsy store with AI. That's what he would say. Watching his videos, he's not. He's slowly coming along to the idea of AI. He does use it himself. He put a prompt out.
I'm doing everything, James, to be positive here, so we can get him on one day.
Listen, if we ever get the Etsy consultant on here, I'll be so happy for you because I like him. I introduced him to you, but you love him, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. I just like someone that comes on, no nonsense, delivers the information as quickly, directly as you can, and gets out of there. Brilliant. Yeah, no massive introduction. No like whittering on like I actually do. Right? Yeah. Does the opposite of me and gets to the point.
Fair enough. Right. So AI automation. My problem with this is I'm a bit of a control freak. So I use AI, as we discussed on week 2, for a lot of things, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with automating things where I haven't checked it first. Do you know what I mean? I haven't checked that social media post before it's been posted, or I haven't checked that listing to make sure the description's right and, it hasn't put something in there by accident. So it makes me feel uncomfortable, this. What do you think?
Right.
You're all for it, aren't you?
No. I feel like I'm sponsored here or by Etsy Consultant. He says social media stuff, stay away. More important stuff to do. It takes too long to get a following.
Well, no, we'll talk about AI, automate. So forget social media for a minute. If you could, let's say, so we talked about listing one a day, didn't we? How Etsy Consultant says to do that, and you agree with that. What if you could get AI to automatically list one product a day?
If that's possible, brilliant.
You're all over it.
Awful, but have we got the capability to do that yet?
Well, I think this fella's saying we have. You need on his videos. There's ways that he connects things up. It's really fascinating. But I would say that even if you haven't got the funds to sort of buy that sort of stuff at the moment, I would say it's coming. I would say that in a year, there's a good chance. I honestly think there's a good chance in a year you will be able to well, it might not be fully automated, but I think you would literally be able to just upload maybe 3 photos of a product onto AI and it will automatically go bang, 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 bang. There's your listing and automatically list it for you. I honestly think it's coming.
Yeah, I don't think me and you are too far off that because because every Sunday, that's when I do the stuff that I can't do through the week. So when sales are struggling, I was making 7 to 10 listings per every Sunday, but then every day I'd put them into the drafts, and then Monday I'd just go into it and publish one, then another one on Tuesday, then another one Wednesday, and it was all done back.
Can you not schedule them on Etsy? Right, so you can schedule it. This is post this on Monday, post this on Tuesday.
If you can, I don't know how to, but I just manually. I mean, it's 2 clicks though, James, isn't it? You just go into the drafts and publish it. Not a problem. And all my listings are, I've just helped. I've got AI that just got prompts for me.
Yeah.
And so really, it's not far off.
Yeah. So you're saying that potentially it's worth it.
Yeah.
And you sort of use it now, but it's not automated, is it? You've got to go and do it yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would say that well, we don't do it now. We don't use it. I mean, we do use AI, as we discussed, but I control it heavily. But I think in the future, if the control part of my brain was willing to let go, and actually if you manage to control this to an extent where you trusted it, it is something that I potentially think we would do. I think it's the way the world's going, and I think eventually, 10, 20 years, I think everybody will have AI automated businesses who've got their own business to a certain extent.
You're not putting the genie back in the bottle. This is here to stay, and it's only going to get better and more efficient.
Yeah. Right. So out of those 4 pieces of advice that we've extracted from 4 of the Etsy online coaches. So let's just have a quick recap. Etsy Consultant, list 1 a day, which we talked about. And we both really like that one, and we both pretty much use it when we can. Starla Moore keyword research, we both don't really like that, and we both don't use it, certainly at present. Alfie Nemeth, a little bit of a split, wasn't there? I use it, and I'm not sure I believe in it, and you don't believe in it or use it. And skipped ahead. And automation, potentially in the future, when we trust it a little bit more, as long as you can control it, well, as much as you can control automation, then we might want to use it.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite interesting there. That I think. Well, there's the thing, isn't it? The one that we both liked and we both used was your mate.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Out of the 4, it's just simple. Yeah. It's understandable. It's logical to me why you would do that. So yeah, well, he's the winner today, isn't he? But like we said, all four of those, I really enjoy watching them. The content's brilliant, and definitely worth a look if you haven't seen them before. Definitely going to be things you agree with and disagree with. So let us know in the comments if you do watch any of them, and if you do agree with any of those things that they say, the main messages, and let us know if you disagree as well and why, because we want to know, don't we?
Yeah. Can I ask you a question, James? Right, you're a new seller. Okay. Do you recommend watching multiple YouTubers on growing an Etsy business, or do you say stick to one and just go through the process?
If it was, oh God, that's a great question, mate. That's such a good question. Because when we first started selling on Etsy, I didn't watch any of them. I only started watching people on YouTube about 18 months ago when we were really struggling for sales. So for 6.5 years, I didn't even entertain the thought of watching Etsy coaches on YouTube and trying to pick up little tips. Didn't even think about entertaining it. So I think my advice would be what it always has been, on week one, just start. Just start listing things. You're not going to go a million miles wrong with your product title as long as you just put what it is and who it's for and when it might be bought for, like we talked about last week. So like it's not that hard to do to list on Etsy. Now we're talking Etsy this week. Amazon's a different ball game, but if you're thinking about selling on Etsy, just do it. I wouldn't watch anything on YouTube to start with, if I'm honest. The main reason I watch it now is it entertains me. And like I said, if I pick up one little thing that I wasn't doing before and I like the look and sound of it, I might start doing it.
Yeah.
But I think your time, certainly when you first start, is better spent getting products, getting the photography right, and listing every day.
Yeah.
Because most people that start selling Etsy, they've got a full-time job, haven't they, on the side? That's their side hustle, Etsy. So if you've got an hour a day, I wouldn't bother looking at YouTube. What about you?
Well, as I was asking that question, I thought about something anyways. Like,
yeah, I saw the vacant look in your eyes, mate.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, well, even if you look at you just stick to one YouTuber to get advice and listen to help you grow your business. If you're listening to someone that's just not very good, you potentially could be wasting time.
Yeah.
On just listening to someone that isn't helping your business at all, and then you've committed a wasted time what you could have been doing elsewhere. So it's a really difficult one. But my advice is there's a lot of when you just start the business, there's so much to do anyway. I don't think you have to over rely on a YouTuber to help you. I think there's just so many things you do naturally, and on the platforms they help you as well.
I agree, mate. I agree with you. My advice would be if you're just starting out, just get on and do it. Don't watch anything. Just get on and do it. If you are going to watch, I would watch small and often of multiple. I'd pick 4 or 5 that you really like the look of and watch multiple. Yeah. Just to give that safeguard against what you just talked about, watching just one person sticking to what they say, and actually it might be a load of rubbish. Yeah.
But a little caveat to that is that when I listen to somebody, if their advice it sounds logical, that's when I'm probably going to stick with them. So if the advice,
I love doing that. I know when I'm about to do that, I know I'm going to do it 2-3 seconds before, and I'm going to see what reaction I get.
It's every podcast.
Every time you start, what happens is I talk for about 11 minutes and then you have about 11 seconds and I just press the button. It's what the people want. So.
Right.
Right, mate, quick 5 questions before we go.
Right, so I'm just going to get my whiteboard. It's next to me.
Now here we go. He's not prepped. He's not prepared. Look.
Hey, look, I've got it.
Typical Paul, as you would say. Right, now two of these are very quick, and the third one is a little bit longer. So, the first question, again, it's Etsy week as we talked. So we're going to have Etsy ones. Right, do you use Etsy ads? It's a very simple question. Do you use Etsy ads? Yes. Have you got them turned on now?
Yes.
Yeah. I've only just turned them back on. Because when we're busy, really busy, I turn them off because I think to myself, well, there's no need to get ad traffic in. We're getting traffic, loads of sales as it is. Just turn them back on. But by the way, our ROAS this month, talk about offsite ads earlier, our actual Etsy ads ROAS this month, and they were on from about the 1st of June to, I think, only the 8th, something like that. And I've just turned it back on. Our Etsy ads ROAS is like 8 or 9 this month. It's phenomenal.
I'm in a bad place with my ROAS on Etsy. But,
mate, you need to turn them off. If you're in a bad place with them, I would turn them off and leave them off. I would turn them off, leave them off, and wait until you are genuinely seeing organic sales every single day, like multiple.
My organic sales are really good, and Rose.
Oh, they are. I'll turn it off then. Turn it off.
But you know what, though, James? I don't put a lot of money onto the Etsy ads. It's like $5.
Hey, listen, $5 mate. $5 a day. What's that? Times 3. That's what, $1,800.
Yeah, $150
a year. Yeah, that's a lot of money, mate.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking, should I double down like with you with your stocks and your shares and just go £10, $10? Nice.
Right. Do you watch Etsy coaches on YouTube? Well, we know that I do because we just talked about why I do it sometimes. Just passes the time, doesn't it? Entertaining. And you might pick up something. I've
said yes and no. Because you said coaches.
So your board's really bright. I can see it just about. Yeah, yes. Anyway, so yes and no.
So I've done yes and no, James, because you've made it plural and said coaches. I just listened to the one, the man, the king.
Mate, I'm going to message him. Do you know what I'm going to do?
Do it everything we can to get a shout out by the Etsy consultants.
I'm gonna tag ourselves into his videos. And if he keeps deleting them, I'm going to keep tagging him. Well, he'll probably block me only. I'm going to comment on every one of his videos moving forward and ask him if he'll come on our show because you're his biggest fan.
Sorry, a funny thing though, right? I think he charges a fee to look at your shop and all that. I think that'd be like my biggest nightmare. I think he'd just destroy it.
He'd go, mate. Well, we need to look at your shop again because I looked at it the other day and we need to work on it, mate.
Yeah, I don't know.
The banner. You need to sort your banner out.
I know.
Well, first and foremost, and obviously you need to. Anyone out there on Etsy, right? Don't do what Paul does.
Yeah.
Don't be on Etsy for 8 years without a shop banner, and don't be on Etsy for 8 years without filling in every section you can fill in. Because Etsy themselves say that the more complete your shop is, your Etsy shop, so all the sections they give you to fill out, the more complete it is, the higher that they'll more likely to be give you more visibility because your shop listing quality score will be higher. So if you've got an about us section, it's empty, fill it in.
And I've got everything like Canva now and
photos in, video in, all that stuff. Put your little profile picture in, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, mate, we'll have a look at that another time. Right. Final question.
Yeah.
What is the best advice you've seen on YouTube? The one piece of advice that you think is the best. It might be something we've talked about earlier today.
Does it? This is really naff, mine.
I know what mine is. And I don't just know. I don't just think it. I know it. Because by the way, did you see that? I wrote on the wrong side of my board last week. Look, I can't get it off now. I wrote on the back instead of the front.
Oh, I'm cringing. I'm cringing off mine. So should I just get mine out the way?
Yeah, go on. Right. Best piece of advice on YouTube. We're talking Etsy, by the way.
Right.
Just do it, does that say?
Just do it. Just do it.
That was my top tip on it from week one.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
But that, do you know when it comes things to it, when it comes down to it, just do it. Just get on with it.
Get on and do it. Yeah. Forget your keyword research. Forget your YouTubers. Just get on Etsy and list. Just do it. Right. This is my one.
Yeah.
If you don't get your photos right, as you are finding out now, I believe, because you're just updating all yours now, aren't you?
Yeah.
If you don't get your photos right, certainly your main thumbnail image, you will not sell to your full potential on Etsy. Because when we first started on Etsy, our images were all sort of Amazon style, white background mock-ups. The minute we updated them all, pretty much overnight, Etsy took off for us. So you can keep your keyword research, you can keep make sure your title's right, you can keep your, turn Etsy ads on or turn them off, or get your photos right, make them look, get the product up front, center, so everyone knows what it is you're selling. Minimum props on the main thumbnail. You can put a few more in the images behind that. Your main thumbnail should be main products up front and center. Make sure it's the actual product. If you're going to use AI background, that's absolutely fine. Make it relevant to the product. So if it's a Christmas decoration, put it on a Christmas tree. If it's a necklace, put it on someone's neck. If it's a watch, put it on someone's wrist. Really simple, obvious stuff. Get your photos right, and you will. If the product's good, you will sell on Etsy if your photo's good.
Yes.
Simple as that. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right. Now, next week, mate, we touched on it earlier, how you had a bad week last week. You were away with the fairies.
Yeah.
You were staring into the screen, vacant eyes.
Yeah.
You weren't sleeping. You were anxious. You were nervous. You were worried. You were worried about having to live on a tent in a park.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you
I'm not
thought
even joking.
might not be able to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but that is part and parcel of being self-employed and owning your own business. I mean, you are the boss, and also you're responsible for your business. So yeah. But
just to enlighten people what we're talking about, mate. Next week we're really going to get into it. Because next week is Amazon week, and we are going to talk about Amazon policy violations. And if you're an Amazon seller, that the words policy violation, it sends a shudder through your spine, doesn't it?
Yeah. And we've got a funny story about with Jeff Bezos and his rockets. Remember that?
So, yeah, next week, mate. Well, all I'll say is valid tracking rate. And if you sell on Amazon, you know exactly what we are talking about.
Know. Now, James, am I wrong here? I might be wrong here, but have you skipped Rant of the Week?
Mate, we've got to do Rant of the Week.
Now, hang on. Now, you owe me some point to that.
We've got to do it. I'll skip Rant of the Week. Right, Rant of the Week. Mate, we're going to have a right royal rant, aren't we?
Yeah.
We've got to be quick.
I want to sit back and I want to listen. I love it because when you rant, like it's another level.
Well, first of all, mate, you're on it this week, because when I make a mistake, like, you normally pick up on it, and we talked about how you didn't do that last week. You've picked up on it this week. I missed out Rant of the Week, and you've picked up on it. So well done. You are back, mate. You are back. Cristiano Ronaldo screaming into that camera the other day, "I am back," after he scored. That is you this week. You are back. So, Rant of the Week. And I know every single online seller out there will join me, because when we first started selling online, it was 2018. We were fresh to it. We were starry-eyed. Oh, how's it going to go? I had a fantastic relationship with Royal Mail. They sent somebody around our house to show me how to bag everything up. We got our business account in place. The prices were reasonable. Then COVID hit. Royal Mail were there for us. They were here every single day. Despite all the staff absences, it was tough, but we got through it with their help. We managed to get everything out while everybody else was sat at home.
They were brilliant.
Brilliant.
COVID.
Brilliant. Then it sort of started getting a bit, we had the strikes, didn't we? I can't remember what year that was. Was it 22, 23?
That was a hard time. That was a hard
strikes
time.
Started turning, didn't it? Started thinking, what are Royal Mail doing here? We know it's the staff on strike, and we don't know anything about it, so we can't comment, but service went downhill. Right. As we stand today, Royal Mail are an absolute disgrace. Agree?
Yes. Right. I know a few of the workers, lovely, hard working people, but we're talking about the upstairs.
We are talking about the back end staff, not the fellas who deliver the post through your door, or the fella and the ladies, obviously fellas and ladies who come and collect our business stuff every day from us. I am talking, first of all, our account manager does not know. I swear to God, mate, if this fella rings me up again, asking me the same question every single year, telling me that performance of Royal Mail is getting better year on year, I am going to drive down to, where is it they're based? Birmingham? Glasgow? Can't remember. I'm going to drive down there and I am going to print off all of the messages that we have from Etsy customers telling us that their item hasn't arrived yet and it should have. And I'm just going to dump it all on his desk. Because I am fed up of it. Every single year, this fella, by the way, we used to have an account manager who's fantastic. And then they all had a shift around. This fella came on and he phones me up every single year telling me that we should send more things tracked. Every single year I tell him we can't send tracked, we can't pay ourselves free delivery for it to be tracked because we have to charge too much for the item. We have to add it as an upgrade and people don't want to pay it because it's so expensive. I'm fed up of answering the same question every single year. I'm fed up with the price rises, which, by the way, it's 2018. We used to send a second class letter for 38p. 38p. What is it now? What's it gone up
91.
to? Is it 91? 91p. Right. That is a joke. Now, everybody knows the cost. Has the fuel cost really gone up by that much? That percentage in 8 years? I'm not sure it has it? Yeah, I think it has. Anyway, we all know things have gone up. We all know the cost of fuel's gone up, not by that much. But here's the thing. The cost has gone up so much, but the service, mate, where's my red pen? The service has just, it's gone like that. Service has gone downhill while the cost is going through the roof. And I am fed up of it. I'm fed up of the messages from the customers who, I don't blame them, haven't received their item. I'm fed up of getting an invoice. Mate, do you check your Royal Mail invoices?
Sometimes.
Right. Here's one. Right. Last 2 invoices we've had, and I bet you if I look back, there are other ones. At the very bottom, they charge you for things. Now, we use a really top thermal label printer for our barcodes on our, it's all, it's done really professionally. Our barcodes are easily readable. They charged us 50 quid in our last invoice because they said 40 odd of our letters had unreadable barcodes on the label. It's absolute nonsense and you can't even appeal it. 50 quid. If that happens every single week, right? How much is that? 50 quid a week. That's $2.5 grand a year. That's two. I'm honestly, first of all, I got 100 quid back off Raw Mail because I went to the regulator this year, and it took about. Here's where ChatGPT came into its own because I just got him to write the emails. But mate, we had so many complaints about Raw Mail. They don't deliver sacks where they're meant to. They don't deliver the grey sacks when they're meant to. So we're using bin bags, and letters are falling through onto the floor. It's an absolute joke. What is going on?
I found somebody else's mail in a sack.
Mate, I found it happens every single time we get sacks given to us. There's mail in there. I mean, you've just got to put it back into the system, haven't you? But it could have been there for days. No wonder things aren't getting there.
Right. Can I just say as well, when I get messages off customers about where's my item, and I apologise, and I say, listen to it, the Royal Mail. Once I say Royal Mail, they always say Royal Mail. Say no more, or Royal Mail. Yeah, we're having issues with Royal Mail too, and they've started to get a reputation.
The prices that they charge now are I can't even. I'm gonna have to stop.
Yeah,
they don't deliver the sacks. The prices are through the roof. The service is through the floor. The back end office staff are terrible at replying to you if you've got a problem or an issue. The account manager does not know his arse from his elbow, quite frankly. He phones me up he doesn't write notes from the conversations we have. He phones me up every single year and tells me the exact same thing, asks me the exact same question. gives me the exact same wrong information, by the way, about how we should be sending things to America, tells me to use codes that we can't use or we shouldn't be using. It's just they're charging us for things like incorrect, unreadable barcodes, which is not true. Those stupid machines they've got in their sorting offices where things get stuck to each other, so they think a letter is a parcel and they charge you for sending something as a letter when it is a letter because they say it's a parcel. If you're having the same problems with raw mail, let us know, because I'm fed up with it, and I'd love to know if everyone else thinks the same. Because I used to love raw mail, but
the only thing that's going for them is the boots on the ground people. The people are out there every day delivering them. Absolutely brilliant people. I
wouldn't, mate. They're all right. I mean, they're yeah.
No, I love them. I love them, but even they're not happy, mate, and I don't think they get treated as well as they should be, mate, to be fair. So it's not great. Do you know what? It's not a happy of companies at the moment, to be fair.
The thing is, there's no alternative, is there, for us? There's no alternative. You can't send letters in any other way. You know, the small items that we send, you can't really send large letters, not for the same price. It's just...
It's a bit of a monopoly, isn't it? To be honest with the letters.
How much, the amount of money that we lose every year because of raw mail, sending replacements, issuing refunds, getting fined by them for things that are just simply inaccurate and not true, having to go and buy bloody bin bags, time out of our day when they're not delivering sacks.
Do you know what, as well, to carry on that rant, I know what to do. And so when I have to reimburse a customer, you do it. I can't do it. I won't go back and ask it where you get your compensation.
Oh, well, that takes so long. The process is so long.
That's not an accident, that though, is it?
Yeah, no, they do it on purpose, so you don't bother.
On purpose to think, so you don't bother. And when they do reimburse me, they don't reimburse. They always put the wrong name on the check. They always put so you can't cash it.
If do you not get invoiced electronically though? They're not credit you.
So no, I got I've done it a handful of times, and they'll send me a letter with a check underneath it.
That's it. You've got a business account, haven't you? Raw Mail.
I've got a business account, yeah. So I'll get a check, and it says to Maggie Mays, we pay X, Y. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Will you get phone calls from your account manager? I haven't had a phone call off my account manager.
Mate, not worth it. Not worth it. Not worth it. Right, we need to finish because nearly an hour and a half, which is probably around about the maximum we want to do, really. So, yeah. Listen, Royal Mail. Sort yourselves out. Absolute jokers. Absolute jokers.
You just want to do that rant for that, didn't you?
Well, I've not pressed it. I've not pressed that one for a while, have I? So
yeah.
Anyway, thanks for watching. If you do want to join in, if you've got any questions about selling on Etsy, how we do it, what sort of things we do, how we list things, then go back and watch some of our content. We talk about it there. And if you do like and subscribe our channel, you'll get a reminder of when we're on every week. And we appreciate that most people watch this back. They don't watch it live because we see the stats. So if you have got a question, you're watching it back and it's not live, we will get back to you. We will answer it. If we don't reply in the actual comment itself, then we'll bring it up on the live show next week. So let us know if you've got. Let us know your experience with raw mail, because everybody out there must feel the same. If you love raw mail still and you think we're out of order, let us know, because I bet there's no one out there that thinks that. And we're really interested to see if there is. And let us know about the content we talked about this week, the online advice, what you agree with, what you don't agree with, because we're interested in that, because nobody knows the truth. So we want to know what other people think. Right, mate, there's only one thing to say, isn't there, before we go? Because it's been a bit of a shambolic week all round. Come on, England.
Is that, the Ghanaian game? Yeah,
well, this time next week, mate, there's 2 more matches before next Thursday. Well, fingers crossed we've got another one after that. Yeah. It's knockouts, isn't it? So we'll see. Anyway, mate, you got anything else to add before we go?
No, mate. I think we've covered it, mate. Etsy consultant is king, and Royal Mail intelligence.
Hey, you were back on it this week, mate. So well done.
Cheers, mate.
Very good job. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. and we will see you next week. Amazon week.
Bye.